There's a reason you don't see a lot of 70-year-old roofers in Arizona. That's not a career that's supposed to last long. There's a reason you don't see a lot of 70-year-old guys on oil derricks outside of Louisiana. That career's not supposed to last 50 years. You can be a podiatrist, a baker, a veterinarian for a long time, a sports writer for a long time. The fact that the Patriots dynasty continues is unbelievable. This is not supposed to be this way in professional football. Here's how long this thing has lasted. LaDainian Tomlinson got drafted in 2001, the same year the dynasty started. He played his entire career, then retired, then waited the mandatory 5 years, and was voted into the Hall of Fame, and it's still going. I mean, the guy was drafted, the guy played, the guy waited, got it inducted to the Hall of Fame, and the thing's still going. It's incredible. Basketball, dynasties and basketball, pro basketball go hand in hand. Dynasties in football don't last this long. First of all, there's the injury component. Guys get hurt. In the NFL, Gronk hurt, Edelman hurt, Hightower hurt. They've had great players hurt in the playoffs, missed the playoffs, missed Super Bowls. What if Durant and Curry couldn't play in an NBA Finals? So in the NFL, you have random and regular injuries to star players, and the Patriots have had them for 18 years. No effect. I mean, last night, James White, they made him their best receiver, and Cordarrelle Patterson, wide receiver, they made their best running back. They just invent new ways to win. They never play down to opponents. I mean, in football, if you have a bad quarter, you lose the game. You're out of the playoffs. In football, an unlucky break, a tip pass that becomes an interception, you lose, you're out of the playoffs. In football, a bad call in the fourth quarter, you're out of the playoffs. You should be out of the playoffs even if you're a better team all the time. In the NBA, a bad quarter, who cares? It's a 7-game playoff series. An unlucky tip pass, we'll make it up tomorrow in Game 4. A bad officiating call, that's Game 2 of the series. The NBA also is not a coach's sport. Okay? The NFL is a coach's sport. That's why they pay football coaches in Boise more than they pay the Yankee manager or the Atlanta Hawks coach. Football's a coaching sport. And the minute you win the Super Bowl, your coaches leave. Your assistants leave. Your coordinators leave. Philadelphia lost its best 2 offensive guys. Go ask Philadelphia. Go ask the Giants. Go ask the Steelers. It's hard to get back. Go ask Drew Brees. Go ask Peyton Manning. Even if you got the quarterback right, you're losing your best coordinators. You're losing your players to injuries, tip passes, bad breaks, bad calls. It's a one and done. It's March Madness. Bad quarter, bad 8-minute stretch. You're done. You're out. Bad break, bad call. The dynasties aren't supposed to last this long. This is unbelievable. I mean, there are no 70-year-old roofers in Arizona. That's not a career that's supposed to last that long. There are no 70-year-old guys on oil derricks in Louisiana. I mean, in the NFL, you win your division, they make your schedule tougher the next year. Doesn't work that way in the NBA. Doesn't work that way in college football. Doesn't work that way in college basketball. Doesn't work that way in hockey. Doesn't work that way in baseball. In football, you win your division. Let's give them a tougher first-place schedule. I mean, it's just incredible what's happening right now. Here's how long this dynasty has lasted. The New England dynasty has been going on so long, it started before the Houston Texans were a team. LaDainian Tomlinson's entire career, drafted, played, waited, Hall of Fame, it's still going. No signs of slowing. And it's not supposed to work this way. Last night was a classic opportunity to stumble, and they didn't. Of course, they didn't. First of all, here are the odds to be the next full-time Browns coach. Bill Belichick, idiotic. Jim Harbaugh would not leave Michigan for Cleveland. Idiotic. Sean McVay is going to leave the Rams. Really. Jared Goff, Gurley, richest owner in the NFL. He is now going to leave that for Cleveland. That's ridiculous. Here's the name that's not on there, and I can't believe it's not on there, and it makes a ton of sense, and it's good for everybody. Mike McCarthy of the Packers is not on that list. How's Mike McCarthy agreeing? First of all, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers have at best, frosty relationship. McCarthy has worked with Rodgers and Favre. He can deal with ego. Baker's got an ego. He can deal with personality. Baker's got a personality. He's dealt with Favre and Rodgers. Okay, John Dorsey runs Cleveland. Where was he before Kansas City? Green Bay. Who was there? Mike McCarthy. By the way, Alonzo Highsmith is now the vice president in charge of player personnel for Cleveland. Where was he before that? Along with Elliott Wolf, also in the front office. Green Bay. You got all these connections between the Packers. Listen, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, it's time. I'm not blaming anybody. That relationship's coming to the end. Once Aaron signed that massive contract, there's going to be more pressure on Aaron to win games. Aaron is worn out. Pat Riley used to say this all the time. Not all relationships, after about 10 years, players tune out coaches' voices. Every 10 years, Pat Riley said, you need to get another job. After 10 years, Aaron's just tuned out a lot of Mike McCarthy. By the way, Mike McCarthy's at fault too. He can be old school and rigid. Aaron's a little more progressive and adaptable. And so you got the California cool guy and the guy that looks like the Milwaukee police sergeant. And one guy's old school, one guy's new school, and they're just done with each other. And I'm not blaming anybody. Mike McCarthy's a good coach. Aaron's a great quarterback. But I cannot believe that name's not on the board. John Dorsey's an old school guy that knows McCarthy, an old school coach. They're a perfect fit. And this roster is good enough to win. This is a good roster in Cleveland. Baker's not quite ready yet to be a star, but it's a good roster. They got players. They got a pass rusher, a couple of good backs, a star wide receiver. I mean, they got a world-class young corner. Denzel Ward could be a Pro Bowler. They got players here. So if you got Belichick's name on that list, that's idiotic. Sean McVay and Harbaugh, those guys are winning in great places. If Harbaugh comes back to the NFL, it's not going to be for dysfunctional Cleveland. Belichick hates Cleveland. I'm going to leave Kraft for Jimmy Haslam. I'm going to leave Brady for Baker. I mean, honestly, was this done by a couple of drunk poker players in Vegas? Who put these odds up? Mike McCarthy, to me, let me shift to this, too. Everybody says Lincoln Riley. Listen, I think Lincoln Riley's really good coach, Oklahoma coach. Let me just throw this out to you. Okay, Steven Spielberg is good for every actor's career. But that doesn't mean many actors can elevate Steven Spielberg's career. Takes a special actor. Okay, Lincoln Riley, all his quarterbacks are good. How do we know that Lincoln Riley looks at Baker Mayfield and goes, yeah, that's who I'd want as my NFL quarterback? He probably looks at Russell Wilson. He probably looks at Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz. I mean, Lincoln Riley has obviously been great for Baker's career. Baker was a walk-on, couldn't get a starting scholarship. How do we know that Baker is so great for Lincoln Riley's career, especially in the NFL? Kyler Murray is the new quarterback at Oklahoma. Through 8 games, compare Baker last year to this new kid, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's numbers are better. A much better athlete, much better scrambler, and his passing yards and his passing numbers are slightly better. Lincoln Riley would never say it publicly. Kyler Murray may be a better fit for him in college than Baker. Every quarterback Lincoln Riley's had in his entire coaching career, they're all stars. Lincoln Riley's a smart guy. How do we know he looks at Baker and goes, that's the guy I want to tie my career to? Hell, the kid he's got right now is performing better than Baker did. Baker's just more well-known. He's a superstar. He's got a big personality. So, you remember when Pete Carroll went to the NFL, Pete Carroll helped every USC football player's career. But Pete Carroll didn't draft a lot of Trojans when he got the Seahawks job. There weren't a lot of Trojans that could help his NFL career. In fact, he took Earl Thomas, a safety for Texas, over Taylor Mays, who was a safety at USC. And people are like, whoa. Remember, Spielberg helps every actor's career. Very few actors elevate Spielberg. I don't think Lincoln Riley necessarily looks at Baker and thinks, all right, I'm going to give up one of the best jobs in college sports and tie myself to Baker. He may look at the NFL like the rest of us do and think, yeah, I'd rather have this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I'd rather have Goff. I'd rather have Wentz. I'd rather have Luck. I'd rather have Deshaun Watson than Baker. And I'm sure Lincoln Riley, a smart guy, looks at that and thinks, yeah, Baker was great for me here, but I'm pretty good with this Kyler Murray guy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.